45.
Okay, part 2. Here we go. Relationship 101 with the gentleman in the building.
Yeah, so we're back again. I knew it was going to go into a part 2. I mean, people have been asking for this show to happen for so long. It's ridiculous. But let me touch on and ask one of the questions that I got that I thought was really interesting. One of my friends, I'll let everyone remain anonymous. They asked,
wow.
Yeah, I got a few. Is it important to share the same faith?
Equally yoked. That's what that is.
Oh man.
Because I know you were talking about the Lord and different, and we may have non-Christian audience members or listeners.
Well, it's pretty much, from what I've seen and some of the experiences that I saw. I know a couple of married couples that seriously doesn't share the same faith. His wife is Christian. He's Muslim. When she go do her thing, she go do it. She go to church, she do what she do. And when he do his thing and what he study, he do what he do. But guess what? They've been together, married 15 years, going on 20. You see what I'm saying? You have some people that share the same faith and can't stay together a year.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So again, when you put them stipulations, you can make the decision and tell yourself, like, you know what, I want somebody to share the same faith. And again, when you talk about the same faith, when you talk about Christians and Muslims, what is that faith? My thing is, when it boils down to it, they all search for the same thing. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So to me, it's a name. When you look at some of the Muslims, like I hear my wife say all the time, baby, sometimes I feel like Muslims respect their wives more than Christians do.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, my thing is, again, so when we talk about that faith fact, then like you said earlier, not changing somebody, just going ahead. Because again, they like this all the time. It's always good to have 4 parents better than 2. You understand what I'm saying? Or sometimes it's better to have 2 parents. Having 2 parents is better than having 1. So again, when you have 2 people that's connecting, and to have those different faiths that they can intertwine and bring together, now guess what? You're exploring, you see what I'm saying? The idea of all faiths, you know what I'm saying? You exploring that. So me going to, you know what I'm saying, a Christian faith party or a praise a situation with my wife, or then if the guy's Muslim, and then she going with me and we intertwine, because at the end of the day, again, it all comes back to the same dynamic and the same ending. You see what I'm saying? They all love the Lord at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And that's the perspective. So again, when you say faith, it's good when you can find that. But like I said, I know some people that have been married over 15 years and share different faiths, and I know some that share the same faith and they can't stay together a year, and it's over. So it's hard to say.
I think the same with it is more stipulations, but I get it. So you got a Muslim or a Christian, and in 2 different relationships. If that was to be the case, I would try to find like the common ground.
Right.
Okay, show me in your favor to tell me about love, because in Christian it say if the man submit, the same type of stuff to see where you at on that, because at the end of the day, love is love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's gotta mean the same thing no matter what. If you white, black, purple,
yes.
Tell me what you know about love, and that's what it got to go off of. So,
but what about if one person is atheist and don't believe in nothing?
It's still,
and the other person is Christian.
Still have to resort back to love. No. If it don't, you should find yourself like, why am I even dealing with this person?
Right. It's the love.
Right. And you being a Christian, you supposed to seek until you find, seek till you find the space. So you can do your studying through that person as well. Like, okay, so tell me what atheism talk about when it deal with love or a relationship or building a family. And if it's crickets, then that's we can't.
But what God did when He sacrificed His Son, His only begotten Son, for the betterment of human life. Again, when I look at a lot of documentaries with my wife, you know what I'm saying, we look at the Bible and we look at certain little gospel series and stuff like that. My thing is, when Jesus and Moses and the 12 guys, they went on a journey, You know what I'm saying? They ran into all type of people. They ran into atheists. They ran into this. But what Jesus did, Jesus still found in his heart to show love to every single body. Remember the tax collector? Everybody was telling Jesus, why are you showing love to the tax collector? He's not with us. He don't share the same belief. He's almost like an atheist. He don't believe in nothing we believe in. Why are you still allowing him to come with us, to follow us, to be with us, to have him in our life? So again, my thing is this. God put us on this earth. You see what I'm saying? Again, he give us choice. With anything in life now, we understand that God gives a choice. That's why everything is not perfect. That's why everything is not set up in a way to where it falls in place, because he wanted to give us the mindset and decision to make a choice. So now when you do run into that person, you being the Christian, the godly person that you are, you're not trying to change him. The only thing it is that I can guarantee you with your experience and the love that you display in that godly spiritual thing that you put out there, the reality of it is, it ain't nothing you're going to have to change about him. He's going to change because there's going to be certain things that he see in you. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times, my wife tells me all the time, she say, baby, you always trying to go save the hood. You always trying to save everybody in the hood.
But you know, to go on what you're saying is, and that's where it's important with communicating in relationship. Like the time you're dating, talk to each other, because we've been married for years, but like you said, you watch a documentary, you talk about so many things, and it's amazing for us to have conversations on so many topics, religion, politics, everything. So why not, when you're dating, why not have those conversations? Because I don't feel like with us, I grew up in church. He didn't grow up going to church, but that never stopped us from being together. It come along the way in our relationship. He started doing it on his own. I never say you must go to church, because I've known a lot of people in relationship. It goes back to the question, why he not proposing? Why he not married? Because now you're trying to make him, well, I can't do certain things because he's not going to church with me. Or, you know, so they start putting all these rules with the relationship, because he's not going to church with me, because all these stuff. So you're having all these other issues in a relationship. Now, it goes back again, like what we're talking about, where we said something about, what people ask for in a relationship. Like when you're talking, if you said, oh, I just want a baby daddy, that's what you're going to get. I just need a kid, you're going to get a sperm donor. I always tell people, ask for a husband.
That's right.
Just say, I want a man with money. I want it, because you could have all the money in the world, but that don't make you happy. That might not be happy. You know, it been times where we have no money and we do so much things. We're more happy than any other time when we have so much money. You know, it's like, and that's where I guess where I'm going with all the rules in a relationship. Just go with the flow. Talk with each other. If two different religion, I guess the most important part of it, where I think people forget, if a kid get involved, which religion that kid need to follow. That's where you're going to have your problem, because he might say, I want him to be Muslim. She might say, I want it to be Christian. You confusing this child, where, you know what I'm saying, where it doesn't have to be that way. Talk about that first, because you could deal with it together. But then once kids start getting involved, that's where it's going to get difficult.
And I guess I'm going to be the minority. And this is a situation where my husband and I agree to disagree. I truly feel that if you're in a situation where you don't share the same faith or some faith, and you have one person that's out of line with how things are supposed to be when it comes to trying to build a relationship with somebody, meaning sometimes when you don't have God or some God at the center, one person is going left and the other person is going right. And I truly believe, I'm not saying that relationships can't work that are that way, but it take muscle. It's going to take a lot of arguments. It's going to take a lot of like tough times, y'all going at it, disagreeing, versus it will, I think, I'm not saying it's the be all that is going to work, but it does make it easier when you have two people with the same hearts and mind, and they have God and the same God and the Bible, like you said, when y'all get into a spat,
right?
When nobody's budging, what do? You pull out the Bible. That's the common ground. It helps. It helps get over the hump. And when that hump is not, when that center is not there, it's gonna be a battle. And I say this all the time, and people laugh. I'm like, listen, let me tell you something. Marriage ain't for wimps. If you a wimp, marriage ain't for you. If you're not strong enough to go through the test of times and fight through it and do stuff sometimes that don't even make sense to everybody around you, and if you're not able to block out what everybody says, what everybody thinks, if you're not able to do that, it ain't gonna work.
But it goes like what he said. You do it for a job. Why not do it for a relationship?
Exactly.
It's the same exact thing.
Your
boss, right?
I hate
It's
It's
like the same thing.
The next day.
You
You gonna smile.
You want to keep the job, so and that's
you gonna
what it
smile.
is.
It's true.
You smile in her
And
face
listen, I don't know. I might offend some listeners. I'm big on this. Wives,
Right.
be careful who you got around you.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful what women you got around you.
Yep.
I have single and married friends, but I only have certain type of single friends. My friend Makita, she's single, but she thinks like a married woman. You have to be very conscious. Even married women, you got to be careful what married women you got around you. Because some married women ain't living right, ain't doing right, and ain't submitting to their husbands. And they'll be in your ear telling you, girl, I wouldn't. Don't tell people your business. Keep people out your business. Keep God in your business. Don't put nobody else in your business but God.
And I think my wife picked that chapter up for me, because we actually had a conversation the other day, and she said in her mind she never thought about stuff because she wasn't raised like that. Right. So she didn't have like what she's saying now. She really didn't have it in her mind. But this is what I told my wife one day. It was a couple of years back. I said, baby, listen. I said, don't just have your friends running up around the house, coming up around the house. So what happened is they start getting comfortable. You see what I'm saying? They start getting comfortable. And then again, we done had experience in our relationship in the past. But then by me reiterating that to her, that pretty much gave her an understanding. Like, listen, it's okay, but sometimes you have to know that person across from you, that person you're friends with. And I can say with Makita, my wife friend, she's right about that. This woman here thinks like a married woman. You see what I'm saying? Just her whole mindset, how she thinks, you know what I'm saying? Just her vibe and the way she live her life is what I have respect for. And with that, I have no problem with being around Makita, her being at my house, and you know what I'm saying? Because the comfortability is there. But again, you have to be confident. I had that conversation with my wife and just saying, baby, you just have to be careful who you have in your house, because what happens, they'll come in and get comfortable.
Same thing. Home is home. You know what I mean? You got to be careful with who you bring to that period, because you know if once you learn a certain amount of things, you know about like learning the ultimate union. Like if you marry your husband, you and your wife, you have kids. Like that's already the devil is mad at you. Like, he pissed off. Yeah. Like what? Somebody got married, they happy. Like what? Okay, so the form could come with somebody. They ain't got to be the fine friend who come to sleep with you, man. They can be the friend who just don't have the knowledge of what it takes to even be advising your woman. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or to be, I think on one of those reality shows, one of them I started watching at the beginning. And one of the ladies, she was cool with her husband, but the other girl saying, yo, you doing this for your man, like
the next season,
like really running it, you know, doing what she's supposed to do for a man, but just they felt in the new age of being a woman, which I have nothing, you know, be a woman, but it's still rules to everything else. Like I could be a man, right? But I still gotta respect everything else. Gay people, you can be gay, but you still gotta respect everything else. We can't like get mad because somebody say gay. They're not used to that. Yeah. You got to know. Straight people, single people may not be used to what you got going on in your house is the whole point. Right. So you got to be careful who you dealing with, who you talking to, who you even around, who you invite to your house is a big thing.
That's true.
And it's huge, man. It's huge.
And it's not only friends, too. It's family.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen that. That's a big one because, you know, you have, you know, even though, you know, they're your family, you still got to be careful because it's a lot of negative vibe. They get involved in your business. And the same way, you got to know which family to talk to. You got to know, because again, it goes back into, well, why is he not proposing, or why is not this? That could have been some of the issues that he got to deal with you as a person, and you don't think it's a problem. And just like how he might be a mama's boy, then you a mommy's girl too, because then it's like you go to mommy for everything, and mommy say, well, don't put up with that. I've experienced that too. Well, how you did that? How you put up with him traveling and it's that don't have nothing to do with that. It's just, you know what I'm saying? It's just the situation of you can't listen to everybody.
Yeah.
You know, you can't listen to everybody. I've seen that too, where some of those shows I start watching and I'm like, Real Housewives. I was like, none of them are Real Housewives.
None of them.
And I'm like, the ones who started doing for their husband, the next episode is like, oh, I'm divorcing him because he was too controlling.
He's been controlling.
You were being a wife, but because you listen to all these women saying he's controlling, he's this, he's that, now you're getting divorced, you know? So, it's fine.
I think it's interesting listening or being of the age with social media, with reality shows, and like I think that's getting into our subconscious that also ultimately influences our communities, where people are so used to getting rewarded for bad behavior, being rewarded for like, you know, I'm going to kill this relationship for, you know, I'm going to intercede and I'm going to, you know, I don't want them to be happy, or I'm going to look at someone that is more traditional in the sense of their relationship and how they don't mind having, you know, being submissive to their husband. They don't mind, you know, being the catering wife or spouse or whatever. And then you have, you know, everyone else that's doing other stuff. And again, I think that there are different cultural differences, I think, with the influences with social media and the reality shows. It's making the sanctity of marriage that much harder, or making it so challenging for people to like genuinely want to be in relationships. Like, why are people so cool with like, you know,
one man, two women?
Right.
Yeah, with
that's
that,
like the new
or
thing.
Just, you know, like I saw the other day, I think it was last week, some black actress is 33 and she's a virgin. And people were crucifying this chick because she was a virgin, because she said she's waiting until she's married to be with someone. And it was like, social media was like ripping
that leads me into something else that I just had thought.
But anyway.
What about the virgins that show and broadcast their body on social media? Men, what do y'all think about that?
The virgins?
The so-called virgins, abstinent, the so-called virgins, the abstinent ones, but they still showing themselves in bikinis and showing their bodies, and
I think like us, we can't even get into that talk, because for one, it's been times where we may say to our women, why you wearing that? And the girlfriend over there, oh, that's cool to wear. And the men looking stupid for, you know, saying, okay, well, don't wear that. So now I think that's actually a woman's problem. I think y'all got to deal with that. You know?
That's right.
Okay, I guess, and I'll talk about it. But my question is, do you take a woman like that seriously? Like, do men take a woman like that seriously? Who, I know y'all married. Just think, single life. Do you think men take a woman serious who they meet and they're like, listen, I don't have sex, I'm a virgin, I'm abstinent, but yet they scroll through their social media page and they showing all the goods? Like, do you take them seriously? Is that someone that you be like, okay, she's a virgin, I'm okay with her showing all her body parts, and I'm going to go out on a date with her and I can see her as wifey?
Well, I can say this. It all depends. Because, again, I always look at things from, you know, two sides, you know. So you have that virgin, right? And she's showing her body, right? Meaning she wearing certain things on social media, she's showing her body. What is the upside to it? The upside to it is that she's a virgin. She's not out sleeping with everybody, so she has some type of something in her that doesn't push her to go have sex. Now, what about the ones that don't show their body, but out there sexing everything in the world, and you don't know? You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's always two sides. So again, for that single guy, it all depends on that person. You know what I'm saying? Again, what's the upside? The upside, she's a virgin. How old is she? She's 30-something, but she didn't have sex and she's holding out, whatever. Okay, then my thing is, you have to commend that, because guess what? That so-called, you are following the protocol on how coming into yourself as a woman, getting to that age or getting to that place to where now you submitting and giving yourself to somebody in that way until you hold out. showing a body ain't nothing. You see what I'm saying? That ain't nothing.
It's kind of tricky. It's kind of tricky because it's like, not because you're a virgin mean that you can't be sexy, you can't be, but you're sending a wrong message to the men. You know, because now if you're doing that and he's thinking, well, yeah, you might not really be, and now he's seeing this, now you might come and say he raped you because now you send the wrong signal.
That's true.
You're saying,
true.
No, you know what I'm saying?
And that's one thing we're against rape.
Sending, right, because that could lead to some, because the man could read that a different way. So if you want to be pure and be a virgin, then keep your whole character the same way.
But what about that guy? And this is what's interesting to me. What about that guy? Because again, it's always somebody for somebody. It's always somebody for somebody. Okay, I might see that and say, you know what? I can't do it.
Right.
But guess what? It's gonna be somebody out there that see it that doesn't bother them. That will marry her. It's not for everybody. You see what I'm saying? It's not for everybody, and it might be somebody whenever that time comes that might say, you know what? I love that this person open. I love this person is not afraid of their body to show their body. I love the person that love themselves like that, and especially she's older like that, and you're not afraid to show your body and this and that. Hey, do your thing again, but it's not for everybody. I might see it and be insecure about it. To be honest, I probably couldn't take that. My girl showing her body like that, but it's always somebody for somebody, and it's somebody out there that guess what? That's gonna take it on and don't mind. That's gonna appreciate that and say, listen, I appreciate you celebrating your body like that. I don't mind, because you have people out there, especially from the other culture, the white side. Mm-hmm. They got nude beaches. You got on nude beaches. You see them walking out there nude like crazy, like nothing.
Well, see, that just go into a whole nother show about social media and people and what they're portraying to be on social media. You know, it's like,
if you like me, as I get older, like, okay, I could see, like, what I thought was a bad chick when I was 25 may not be the same. So, like, it may not sweat me like, okay, like, sometimes y'all wearing the hair or doing your thing, doing your girl stuff. Do it, whatever. I ain't, whatever, do your thing. But at the same time, I'm not too much worried about that because I know that's a world that y'all get into if your shadow shine or whatever. So I can't go into that. You know what I mean? I'm just here to if you happy, I'm happy. So some guys may see that as like, she may be a virgin who's just in the fashion, or she may just be, whatever. He ain't. If his mind right in the right place, it won't even matter. And if her mind in the right place, they still gonna make the connection.
They still gonna make it
because it's meant to happen. She just could be like, if people follow my social media, I have ways of doing that. I like pictures or do certain things, but some people may perceive it as that. But if I say like how people say, man, I thought you was really arguing with those racists the other day. I'm like, no, man. I'm getting them to retweet me so I can get more people to follow me.
Yeah. It's work.
It wasn't deep. I'm like, no. There's a perception sometimes people have. He thought I was Malcolm X. I'm just trying to get the social media. I
know that's right.
You know what I mean? So I just think judging and, like you say, sacrifice, faith is a good thing. It's awesome. And even for the fellas, I got one thing to say for the fellas because I don't want to forget this. And those who know the Bible could probably help me out. I know it's some type of agreement somewhere where if one of God's children in a situation, He gonna always provide a way out. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Okay. So I always thought of Tupac. Like Tupac, one of the best rappers, and he made Temptation. Like what made Tupac, gangster nigga, getting all the whole make a song about temptation. Right? So I went, one night they had a men's conference. I went and learned. And he say temptation is one of the strongest battles we're going to fight as men.
Yes.
It's like, and women, if y'all know this stuff, this, take knowledge. So knowing that they always going to provide, a way out is going to provide you, a way out is always going to be provided.
Right.
So men, I'm going to walk with my men for a minute. And this, this men talk. It may be times, oh man, I got this fine baby from the club. But Weaker won't get on hard, man. For nothing in the world. He always hard. He won't get on hard. Yeah. That's your way out. Man, I'm with this old lady. She acting crazy, but my wife keep calling. My woman keep calling up. That's your way out. Yeah. Don't ignore your signs. And don't, you know what I mean? Because that's part of your draw to your relationship you may have already, too. You know what I mean? So that may be something that I could have helped somebody
That's
with.
Deep. That's deep.
And wives, listen, I can only speak from experience. Use your connection to God as a wife
Yep.
to pray for your husband.
Exactly.
Sometimes not saying anything but getting on your knees and praying will open up doors that you have no idea that will open. I'm a strong believer in, and Keita tell you, one of my favorite movies, you already know, is
Say it, baby.
When she pray in the closet.
I can't think of
She go in the closet.
She go in the closet and she prays.
Yeah.
Okay,
I can't think of it either.
Maybe we saw that movie like 10 times.
I know.
I just went blank.
Yeah.
And I watched this movie like all the time.
It was good. It was good. I
It'll come.
The War Room.
The
War Room.
Yeah, you're right. War Room.
If you are a wife, I highly recommend you watching that movie. Because there's an instance in the movie where, like you were saying, your way out, his wife was praying at a very important, critical time. And all of a sudden, he got sick. His stomach started hurting. And temptation is real. Satan is real. Like, I'm sorry for people that don't believe in Christianity, but I can only speak on what works for me and what I know. And Satan is real, and Satan comes to kill and destroy marriages. So when you are aware of that, use your power as a wife to pray. Use your power as a wife to have that third eye. Men too, y'all, they need to be aware there's a third eye. There's Satan trying to use certain things to tempt you. Yeah. They plant a seed, they put something in your path or someone in your path to tempt you out of the desire for you and your wife to break up. And that's real.
And in the movie too also, what it showed me, again, we talk about choice. And you notice it in this, segments that we're doing, I keep using the word choice. He gave us a choice. Now in the movie, she could have made a choice. We talking about the wife in the movie. She could have made a choice to walk away from her husband. Yep. But what did she do? She started praying for him. You know why she started praying for him? Because Mr. Money Mark, like you said, when you talk about temptation, right? When she started getting into just the dialogue of just that whole concept, she realized the temptation that he was under. So instead of fighting against him, she didn't realize it wasn't him that she was fighting against. It was the devil. It was the spirit. So she started praying for him. And again, it takes a strong woman, not even a strong woman, it takes a strong woman of faith to understand that process. That again, as men, as young men, in the time we're living in now, we are under attack. Yeah. When you look at the social media, like you say, the young ladies put these pictures up on via showing their body. We under attack. So instead of coming at the man, attacking the man, understand it's not him. Again, when God created Adam and Eve, when Adam and Eve were created, we already understand that process and that whole dynamic. But guess what? It's what it is. But now it's about understanding that, listen, as men, we are under attack. It is not about you guys attacking us. It's about attacking the devil, because understand, it's not us. We are under attack. But guess what? Like I said before, that woman that has the understanding and the knowledge, and sometimes it just doesn't come. Sometimes it takes that other woman that's next to him to really like instill in them, to put information out. Like I respect my wife because she's always putting stuff out, talking about the Lord and trying to inspire other women to give them an understanding. But again, when you going at him, you're not realizing that's what the devil wants. Yeah. The devil don't want you to come at him. The devil wants you to think that is your partner, when it's really not your partner. It's the devil trying to do this thing. But when you start going to the devil, like you said, War Room, when she started going in that closet, she started praying. It's one thing that touched me, give me chills right now. When he came home one day in the War Room, like my wife said, y'all go check it out. This is the part that touched me.
Is the real deal.
When he came home one day and he started walking around on his normal daily, like I said, we like attention. So a lot of times as men, we gonna go get the attention from wherever we can get the attention from. That's it's the reality. We're gonna go get the attention wherever the attention is coming from. So he came home one particular day, and it was just his normal day. He walked into the house, and at the end of the day, he already knew what him and his wife was going through. But guess what? This was what it was. Okay, he walked in the house, but then he didn't see her. But then he walked through the house, and then he walks inside the room, inside the closet. Then he started seeing all these posts on the walls and these little sticker scriptures that she started putting on the wall, and he started looking around and reading it. And then it touched him, and then he said, you know what? Wow, nah, really. I'm doing what I'm doing. But she still got the dinner, and she's sitting down saying, baby, are you ready to eat? We sitting at the table, and she's not coming at me. She's loving me. She's showing me love. She having faith in the marriage. She's showing that regardless of whatever we go through, I'm with you, baby. I'm getting it. Because notice when every time she went against him, every time she came at him in a certain way, what that did, and that's what the devil wants, what it did, it pushed him out. It pushed him to that woman. It pushed him. And again, like you said, you're going to have those signs. So in the movie, you guys got to go watch it. He's sitting at the table with this woman that he actually worked with, that he was doing business with. And I guess they went out of town. But that particular night, they were sitting at the table, and she just knew she was going to get her some goodies that night. She was going to get her some king diggling, excuse my language. But that night, he got sick. If y'all saw the movie, that night, he started feeling sick.
Yeah.
That was one of the signs. But what it was her praying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was her praying. So again, that's what it's all about. It's not about coming at the men late. And again, I'm not using no excuses for men and saying give them a pass. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying give a man a pass.
Use your power.
All I'm saying is, at the end of the day,
your power.
If you have the understanding and you can process it in your mind, just realize and understand that it's not him you going against, it's the devil. And if that's somebody that you really want to be with, and that's somebody that you really look, you know what I'm saying, to spend the rest of your life with, just understand. They say behind every good man is a what?
A good woman, a strong woman.
A strong woman. So again, remember that word, behind every good man. Now watch it. They ain't say behind every strong man. They say behind every good man is a what? Strong woman. So now when you talk about that woman, we talk about strength. Why they strength? Because guess what? When you talk about a woman that having a baby, I don't think that's something a man can go through. Man, we won't even be able to take that pain. It's a lot of things that women go through. Trust me, we won't even be able to take. That's why they say a strong woman. So again, in that strong woman, what happens? That strong woman understands that a lot of things that they deal with, we wouldn't be able to deal with. But that's why she's that strong woman. That's why that strong woman understands, and she know that, you know what? It's not my husband I'm fighting. It's the devil I'm fighting. So I'm going to pray for him. I'm going to go in that room and I'm going to pray. I'm going to pray and I'm going to pray. And if you believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, you understand. He might not come when you want him. But he going to be there on time when it's time for him to, he going to be there when it's time for him to be there. And that's my words to you guys. This is your boy J-Shin. I'm not signing out. I'm going to just sit back. And I'm going to let the beautiful young ladies of Girl What go ahead and end the show. And you know I'm done with it. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys tuning in. That's your boy J-Shin. That's your boy J-Shin and Money Mall. We going to be back over there slip and slide. So y'all lay around. Trick or Trina already back over there. You know what I'm saying? Started to throw it off, but y'all just lay around. We gonna be back over there. Ted Lucas, I know you tuned in. Let's make it happen, baby.
Nikki like.
I'm just.
And that's another thing, like the struggle. She trusted my struggle, and that's another, that's another talk within itself. But
no, talk about it. We got a little bit of time.
I mean, to keep it 100, man. On that situation, she went through the struggle with me. It's time for her to pop the big bottles of champagne. It's time for her to shop at Bergdorf's and what all of them other places where, I gave the work, I gave the sacrifice. And that's the only way on that situation it's going to happen. I got a family, and they all stuck with me through my ups and downs with learning myself, learning the business, and all of that. So that's the only way that can work. As far as relationships, people, we study for tests. We study for everything. We work hard for everything we think we want, like a new car. It's the same thing with relationships. And if the first thing is like sacrifice, and, I got a few friends, I ain't going to put them on the spot, but they were saying something like, well, I couldn't take it. And if you hearing too much I and me's in your sentences, then you ain't ready to be in a relationship. You got to just throw all of that away and know the things that you know. Like, you can talk to somebody, make them feel better. Like, damn, you can bring somebody back up. You can cook a meal. You can eat a meal. You know the good place to go. That being somebody supportive, having somebody back, and for the temptation of people knowing the devil, the connection between God and us is the woman. So
yes.
He probably going to try to go at us first. Send temptation at us and throw it off. Just to end all of that in the beginning. So those who trying to start relationships, just know that. Just know who you met, know where you met them, know what to expect, know the type of weight you're putting on people. You can't meet somebody, a bouncer at a club and expect them to be a banker. You know what I mean? Just, be real with yourself and work hard at it and stay and pray, and it'll work out for you. Money Ma signing off. Slip and slide on. No. We'll figure it out.
Well, Nikki.
Well, I guess for me, just from all what we talk about is just knowing yourself and, don't try to change the person, like you said before, like, it's certain things you want. And I believe how you grew up have a part to do with that. Because it's certain things I remember my mom usually tell me, look, she tell me straight up, learn to cook. A man ain't going to take you out to a restaurant every night. She makes sure I learned to cook from I was 14. So I know how to cook, wash, clean, do everything I need to do. Not saying I'm doing it for a man, but that's for me to know how to do that for as a woman. I teach my daughter that. For you, this is for you. A man will come to appreciate those, things that you're doing. So it goes again, like for women, even taking advice with the movie. She was going through those things, but it took for that grandmother to say certain things to her, for her to be like, you know what, let me do this. So for some of the women, like you're going through certain things, it goes back to the friend or whoever that person you could talk to that could say, hey, try this, do this. We've been through stuff where sometimes it's really stupid. Like when we look back at it, we're arguing about stupid stuff and it's like, it's just a simple miscommunication. Yeah. So instead of you give up on the person and say, well, like most of our arguments really used to be like, he'll be like, I'll be back. I'm going to go watch the game with the boys. And now I'm like, what you mean you're going to watch the game? What if we had something planned? But I could, we'll argue about it, but he had to learn after we talk, like I'll say to him, and I think that's when he start coming around. Like, I'm like, hey, I'm not saying you asking me permission. It's just that now we're together. It's just a matter of respect. You don't know what I have planned.
Communicate.
But he just used to, that was his life where he just get up and go. But now it's other people involved. It's just, let's communicate with each other. My daughter, I tell her that every day with stuff. It's building you for a relationship. Like, no, you can't just say, I'm not coming home or I'm just going here or just doing certain things. You got to communicate with us because once you get older and with your husband, it's going to become part of you. If you're not communicating with your parents, most likely you're not going to want to be communicating with your husband.
That's right.
So all those things is just how you start from home. Far as culture, I don't know. Like, as far as religion and all that stuff, like I'm from Jamaica, he's from Miami. That's a big difference for both of us. But, we make it work, and it goes back on the type of person. Because you have people who will say, oh, Jamaican women are this and this and this. I'm not like that. I've heard American man is like this. How you with him? And it's like, it's I love him to death. But like I always said to him, like, I'll say, like, the things he do, that was my list. Like, women have lists. I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want that. I could say that. I don't want man with kids. I don't want an entertainer. He fit all of that, but he's the perfect man for me. He was all my don'ts, but he is the perfect man for me. So you can't, you can't sit here and say, he's not, you know what I'm saying? And then disregard it. Just like how you have women and men. I don't want a man with child. I don't want a woman with child. But he might be that person for you. You never know. As a woman or a man, you might not produce kids or can't have kids. But, that you can't use that as the reason. That could be the person for you. So that's my take on that. And, one last thing. With me planning weddings, I do event planning. And another thing that I come across a lot, couples get caught up into the wedding and forget about their relationship. They just forget. And he'll hear me say this to brides all the time. You gotta live after the wedding. Even though I plan weddings, I'm not gonna charge you an arm and a leg because I'm talking to you like, no, be real. You gotta live after this wedding. You can't just do all of this, because I guarantee you're not going to remember half of this stuff after, but you and your husband going to be arguing and fussing. Because I've seen people empty their savings, 401k for a wedding. Some people are, no disrespect, I don't know how people do their life, but, I'll tell them sometimes, he told me that before, let's get a house first, and then we do the wedding in the back of the yard. I'm like, no, I want a garden wedding. After we got our home, I'm like, you know what? I should have listened to you. Because I'm in the business. I see it. There's so many different ways you could do it.
Same thing.
It's so many different ways you could do it. I've turned a small living room into a beautiful ceremony site that you wouldn't even think that's inside someone's house.
Wow.
And it's an intimate, beautiful wedding. And that's what I tell people all the time. Do that. Sometimes, like he said, will you marry me? Some people think that you got to get married right away. You don't have to. Take the time. Know each other more. Plan your wedding. Enjoy it. Instead of just, we got to get married and we got to do all that. And you start arguing. I even tell them a lot of times some weddings never happen. Because, well, he didn't show up for the... I said, look, men ain't into it like this. That's for us. You have some men who are into it. If they're into it, they're going to be at that appointment, So, it's like, that's another thing with, relationships. And, I just had to tap on that because I see that a lot.
You can't be a
I know. Well, we are winding down. We could have easily gone into another 45 minutes, but we're going to cut it short. Let's do our round of plugs. Mark, what are you doing? Jay, Nikki, we heard a little bit.
All right, well, Money Mark Money Entertainment, still doing my thing, songwriting, publishing, videos, movies. Just stay tuned at Money Mark Diggler on all social platforms and Gmail as well.
Well, it's your boy J-Shin again, songwriter, artist. You can find me on The Real J-Shin on IG and Twitter. Look out for blogs that I have coming up in the near future. I'm going to continue to touch on relationships, so you guys follow me again at The Real J-Shin on IG and Twitter. It's going to be real interesting. You guys follow me. We're going to make it happen. We're going to get these relationships together. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get these mindsets together, and we're going to make it happen. Team Shin Enterprises. We going in, baby.
Well, Nicola, and of course I have an event planning company, Nicola's Event Planning, just full service planning, party rentals, decor. You can look for me, same thing, Nicola's Event Planning on all your social sites. And look forward to couples retreat. I'm putting together a lot of couples retreats together. So, yeah. So, look, stay tuned. Follow my page. You'll see I post stuff, about that. And doing it in different cities. So, it might be in a city near you.
Awesome. Well, this is Makita McClune. I guess I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Makita McClune. I have my own, public image page as well. Breast cancer survivor. Wow. The race is coming up twice now.
I think that's going to be our next show.
Yes. And, political operative. We can, all things politics, I guess I'm into. And girl what? Melanie?
Melanie Shinholster. Let's see. I have an interior decorating business, Shin Chic Decor. I also have a tutoring company where I service the kids. Pretty much our black community. That's Team Shin Tutoring. And then we have the umbrella Team Shin Enterprises where we're trying to empower passion, purpose, and people. My husband's also a bondsman, too. He forgot to say that part.
Yes, I am. So if you guys need any help 24 hours a day, I'm on call. Go ahead and give me a call, but just make sure you have the money, please.
Please, make sure you have the money. No. And then we have Girl What? This is our baby, our platform.
Absolutely. And, like we said, look, you can take us seriously or you don't have to take us seriously. We're not experts. We're just people and sisters with opinions. And with that said, we want to remind you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Girl What. The show is now on iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Google Play.
Colossians 1:16. All things have been created through him and for him.
You have now listened to Girl
What? Thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
I know. Probably because no camera is not around.